What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Idea Stream. I'm Dana Blue, and this is another live stream. And usually I don't do them evening time Bangkok, but I've got a very special guest, a good friend of mine, probably one of the first people I ever met in Bangkok, and definitely the first person I really developed a strong friendship with in Bangkok about 8 years ago. Tejas, what's going on, man?
Hey, Dana, how are you? I'm good.
Good. So you're live. You're coming to us from ASQ in Bangkok.
Right. So I'm currently in the state quarantine, having landed in Bangkok on 15th.
And I know that we were talking right before we went live. This is actually your third ASQ in less than 3 months, or your third quarantine in less than 3 months.
That's right, Dana.
So you were telling me like you quarantined in India before you left India. You got to Fiji. You had to quarantine again, hung out in Fiji for a minute, and then back to Bangkok and quarantine one more time.
That's correct. Yes. So the first quarantine was before departing for Fiji. It was 4 days of quarantine in India, and then in Fiji for 14 nights, and now 15 nights in Bangkok.
You going a little stir crazy?
No, I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm not. It doesn't drive me crazy and hasn't driven me crazy yet.
It's mindset going into it, right? I mean, you've always been like a super positive guy, so I can imagine you're just like, all right, another quarantine.
Well, I think there are two ways one can look at it very negatively and have a negative mindset right from the beginning, thinking of what could go wrong, and that sort of drives you nuts when you're all by yourself within a room and can't even step out. So yes, the positive mindset does help a big time, and also there's so much you can actually do when you're in quarantine that if you're well planned, then there's lots you can do.
Real quick, I just want to say hi to Joe and Born Nomad Productions in the chat. How you guys doing? Thanks for jumping on at this unusual hour with us. Now, Tejas, I know we've been chatting back and forth and you've been posting stuff online. You got some pretty good food going on. Like I've seen some other people posting from their ASQs and from their quarantines, and they're getting like, butter sandwiches and like, no vegetables, just pasta, and you're getting fresh fruit. You're getting like, grilled chicken, stuff like that all the time in ASQ. Like, how do you feel food wise? Because it seems like you're having a pretty good overall. They're taking care of you very well, I should say.
I think here where I am currently, it's at the Western Grand, and there's no complaint whatsoever for the food. And
Nice.
you get fruits, you get. It's a well balanced meal and diet that they are providing. So yeah.
I saw the other day. Actually, I was on the other day. I was gonna buy some dragon fruit, and I couldn't find any at the market. I'm like, freaking Tejas had dragon fruit in quarantine, and I can't get it at the market. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm having dragon fruit every day almost.
It's my favorite. I know you remember when we would hang out the markets in Rangsit. I would always get dragon fruit every time. That's my favorite fruit in Thailand.
And the dark one, the pink one.
Yeah. Oh God. These guys might not know. You know the story of the first time I ever had the pink one. Yes. I thought I was dying the next day. No, I'll tell that story for these guys listening. So I had never had the pink dragon fruit before, and I was up country, and I had it, and it was, the pink one it's just like white dragon fruit. It looks like it's bleeding almost, and it's like really sweet, a little bit sweeter than the white one. I ate like maybe 2 or 3 of these. And the next, no problems with my stomach, nothing, no digestion issues whatsoever. I go to bed. Next day I get up and I go to the bathroom. I thought I was dying. Like I had internal bleeding. It's just red everywhere in the toilet bowl. I'm like, oh my God, I had to message Jib and be like, I'm dying. What's happening? And she's like, didn't you say you had the red dragon fruit last night? I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Stop freaking out. It's just, that's the one thing, if you don't know, you could be a little nervous after you eat it for sure. Have you had the red one, or are they only giving you the white one while you're in quarantine?
The white one. I haven't had the red one. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the same. Now, I know that so you're hanging out there, you get out, you had your first nasal swab today, right? You said they changed the the setup for the nasal swab? They changed the schedule, so it's like you don't get it on the first day anymore.
No, so now it's on day 5, and they count day 5. So it's technically day 6. So your first day of arrival is taken as day 0. And then 1, 2, 3. So on day 5 is when they are taking the nasal swab now, and the second one will be on day 12, and then they release you on day 16.
Was this a rapid test, or is it one that will come back in a few days?
No, it'll come after 24 hours. So it's the
okay. So
RT-PCR
tomorrow
test.
you'll get the results back.
That's right. That's right.
And this is what, your 5th nasal swab in like a couple months?
Whoa.
5th or 6th?
Yeah, but yeah, that's right. The 5th one.
Wow. Definitely not comfortable, huh?
No, I mean, I think the one this morning was the most comfortable one among the ones that I've had.
No, because you're not a swab virgin anymore, right? You've had that. You've broken your nasal hymen. It's nice and loose in there. You can get those big cotton wads in there to test for COVID. You don't even feel it.
It's driving me crazy, actually. These nasal swabs.
Your nose is the soy cowboy of noses now.
The one in Fiji was the second swab test in Fiji was crazy. The guy just left the bud inside and he's looking for the container, and I was stuck up there with the thing sticking out. And then he comes back and says, "Hey, yeah, I need to take a swab." So he's like,
he left it in there before he got the.
It's paining, like I was screaming, and then I met some of the others, who were quarantined at the same hotel, and they all said it was the same experience. The guy left it in the nose and went looking for the container.
Nice. Well, say, Joe, thank you. Chris did a great job on that video, man. It was really cool. And, hanging out with Chris is always fun. We were talking yesterday. There might be something in the future. We're trying to figure a few things out. We'll see what happens. Guys, if you have questions about ASQ in Thailand, Tejas is there right now, so be sure to ask it in the chat. He'll answer anything. And you're at the Western Tejas, right over in Asok, and so you're right in the middle of the city. Yeah, how's that?
Right next
like,
to Terminal
you have an
21.
air purifier? You have an air purifier in your hotel room, or are you suffering from this air quality issue that we have right now?
There's no air purifier inside my room, but if you open the windows, that's when you'll get the air in. But
yeah,
you decide whether you want the air in or not.
Yeah, it'll probably be rough until you get out. That's the tough part.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we were talking before about some of the photography. We all know. Oh, now he says they all know where I live. Yeah, because Chris posted it on the video. He posted the map, but that's not the exact location. Don't worry, Joe. So Tejas, I mean, you got your whole kit with you, and we were talking earlier. So you just came from Fiji, and I wanted to talk a little bit about your creative process, because you're one of the guys who really taught me a lot about photography when, I did mostly video, and you started showing me some of the photography stuff. So what's in your kit right now? What do you have in your kit that you travel with?
So I have a Nikon D800 body. I have a 50 millimeter 1.4. I have a 7200 and a 1635. So
that's all you're traveling with?
Yeah, these are what I'm traveling with.
And you have your drone also for aerial photography.
I have a drone. I have a GoPro, and
nice.
Yes.
You have the 9.
Filmmaker's kit.
Which GoPro do you have?
It's one of those old ones, but still doing good.
It's the old GoPro one that just takes like 15 photos and it fills up its internal memory.
The Hero 4.
Oh, Hero 4. That's a good one. I had the Hero 4 for a long time. I had the Hero 4 until I got the Hero 7. So, I mean, they're legit. That's probably one of the most robust ones you could get out there.
I'm exploring underwater photography currently, so I might consider getting something for.
Oh, you have a cage for your camera to go underwater, or what?
No, I had borrowed a cage and had used it, but now I'm thinking about getting my own gear. So
yeah, out in Fiji, you get that crystal clear water, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
it's probably some beautiful
diver's
photos.
paradise.
Yeah, and you went to a bunch of the islands out in the South Pacific, right?
Yeah, primarily Solomon Islands and Kiribati.
Yeah, and you went to Christmas Island, you said?
No, Christmas Island is the one out. I went to
Oh,
Tarawa.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe wants to know if your room has a balcony.
Unfortunately, not.
No, no balcony for
No,
you.
no balcony.
So one of the things I thought was interesting, Tejas, you told me your hotel currently has normal guests and ASQ guests, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So they're separating you guys by floors, and you told me you had a car pick you up at the airport, brought you directly to the parking garage where they did your intake, and kept you completely separated. Then you went up in a service elevator to your floor. Is
That's
that
right.
right?
Yeah.
So your
So
floor is only COVID folks or ASQ folks.
that's right. So the way it works is they pick you up at the airport, drive you with uh, in a car where the driver is separated. They have a screen in
Mm.
between,
Yep.
and at the Westin here, it's on level 6.
Okay.
At the car park where they have reception for those who are coming into the ASQ, which is pretty
Mm.
well organized. They ask you to remove your footwear. They put it in a separate plastic and give you flip flops here, the slippers,
Nice.
and then they take temperature. They sort of tell you all that needs to be done during your ASQ, and then you are taken into your room from the service elevator. And that's
Nice.
exactly where they do the nasal swab. So this
Mm.
morning I went down to level 6, and they
Okay.
did the swab test there.
So how is it, they come and knock on your door and then they wait for you to come out and they bring you down there, or how does it work out? What's the process like?
Yeah, so 2 days in advance they had told me like your appointment time is at quarter to 12, and
Mm-hmm.
exactly at quarter to 12 there was a guy who came, knocked at my door, and he escorted me for the nasal swab, and then
Mm.
brought me back to the room.
Okay, nice. And he's all PPE'd up. He's got all the gear on, keep him safe
Yeah,
from
that's
everything.
right.
Yeah. Oh, so Joe wants to know if you don't mind, Tejas, he'd like to ask like what it costs for the ASQ at the Westin.
Wow. Okay. It depends what type of room you take. So it starts from 60,000 baht
Okay,
onwards,
so sixty
and that
thousand
that that
for the.
includes, yeah. So it's for 15 nights,
Okay,
including the swab test and 3 meals.
okay. Do you have to pay extra to get the girls from Soy Cowboy up to your room?
No one is allowed. You
No
are in
one's.
quarantine. No,
Yeah,
you're only allowed to meditate in your room. They know.
but if they wear a mask, I mean, it's the same, right? So it's okay.
Same but different. They know.
Same but different. Yeah. And you can get food delivered from outside, correct? Like you could call Grab or do Grab food and get a delivery.
Well, they are pretty strict. I
Okay.
would say in quotes. It
Okay.
depends from where the food is coming. If you say from one of these food courts from the malls, they allow
Mm-hmm.
that, and they want to
Okay.
know when the food was cooked. But
Okay.
you can't get food from the vendors on the street unless
So
it's sort of brought in and packed differently, and then
what about a restaurant?
it
Like
again depends. It depends on the nurse on duty there,
yeah.
whether the person allows it or not. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they are pretty strict on it.
So Joe wants us to expand on the girls. How many girls can you have to your room at one time? Can they only come from Soy Cowboy, or can you get Nana girls also, Tejas?
No girls allowed into your room, and no alcohol unless
No
you've
alcohol,
got it.
really.
No alcohol unless you've got it in your check bag.
Really? So even, like you
Yeah,
can't get alcohol delivered, like no beers, no
no,
wine,
nothing.
nothing.
No, nothing.
Huh. Can you order like a room service from the hotel? So
Yeah,
like if you want
the menu has only tea, coffee, and soft drinks and juices.
oh no, but I mean for food, like say you're up late on like a weekend watching a movie, you want to get like a snack and you've already had your 3 meals for the day. Can you call room service and they'll send something up?
Yeah, you can. So
Okay.
the room service ends. The last order is at 11 p.m. So yeah.
Oh wow, early. I would think the Weston's like 24/7 on room service.
No, I think because of the ASQ and having less people, they are not operating 24/7. The
Okay.
room service.
Okay, so it's just, yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? Because they're probably not at capacity overall, even though they're taking
That's right.
regular guests. Now you're attached to Terminal 21, correct? The Westin?
It's not attached. You have the road in between, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. You're the one next to Terminal 21. You're not
that's
on
right.
it.
No,
And
that's
what was
Center Point,
that?
I think, the one that's on Terminal 21.
So, Born Nomad Productions from Australia. He says, I think we have a bunch of whiny tennis players in a Grand Hyatt for ASQ complaining about full food and own gym access. So you can't even leave your room, right? Except for that swab test.
So now once the test results come in tomorrow, they'll allow me, if it's negative, they allow you to go out to the gym, I think 1 hour every day. Or you could
Right? You
go
have
and
to,
sit by the pool. Yeah.
you have to schedule that, or can you go like
That
you pick the hour?
no, you need to schedule that.
Okay. And you could, where's the gym? It's up on the roof or somewhere else?
I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
And will you need to be escorted or can you just go?
I think what they had said is there would be someone to escort you,
Okay.
but
So like
that probably
up
be
and
the
back.
first time. That will probably be the
Okay.
first time. I mean, once you know where it is, they'll allow you to
Nice.
go out.
Now, how about clothes? Like, because you're there for 2 weeks, right? Do you have access to like laundry service to wash your clothes so that when you leave at the end of 15 nights, 16 days, you don't have a bunch of stinky ass clothes from hanging out in a hotel room?
Yeah, I have access to the laundry service. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Is that included, or you have to pay extra for that?
I have negotiated that, so it's included.
Okay, you negotiated that. So Indian of you,
Yeah.
Tejas.
Yeah.
Tejas got everything included, and you get a discount down to 45,000 baht.
No discounts, Dana.
And he's up in the penthouse.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe's interested if you can get that spicy sausage delivered from Soy Cowboy. It would just have to be repackaged, right?
Yeah. Repackaged. That's right.
Repackaged, yeah.
Make sure you come through Terminal 21.
Yeah.
That's the
So I
package
mean,
that's allowed.
yeah. So you're looking forward to getting out, I'm sure, right? This is your, like you said, third quarantine in like 2 months, 2 months time, and like the fifth or sixth nasal swab. Now you're all broken in. You could take those jumbo swabs if you wanted. I bet you they could do 2 swabs at one time, 2 swabs in one nasal hole. There's a market for that type of video on TikTok, I'm sure, Tejas. But
We'll try that on you first, Dana.
no. My nostrils have not been broken in. So it's a whole different market if you're doing it on my nostrils. That's like the first timers market. Like that's that type of
Right.
video. You're the experienced, like you're the Jenna Jameson of nasal passages. But
Wow.
so talking about photography though, I mean, you must be looking forward. It's been a year since you've been in Thailand, at least, maybe a little bit more. So you must be looking forward to getting out, doing some street photography again. Like I said, we were talking about like maybe going down to the salt farms together, and you could do some of your aerial stuff. What do you have planned for shoots, for photos that you want to get, or do you have like certain trips planned for shooting?
Actually, it's going to be very interesting now with the tourists not being around. So you'll get to shoot some of the local markets, and street photography would be very different from what it used to be, let's say, a year ago. So I'm looking forward to going out and exploring rural areas, and also areas where I can do more of sort of fly my drone and get some nice
Definitely not
shots.
in Bangkok. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you remember the time we were out shooting one day, doing street photography around the city, and I ended up getting a message from John Nutt. He's like, "Hey, can you come ref some boxing matches?" And I'm like, "Yeah, me and T just dropped by. Like, I don't have time to go change or anything, so like I'm wearing what I'm wearing." He's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And we show up, and I think we were going down like a Nana, and we run into John. He's like, "All right, Tejas, you're gonna be a judge also. Like, you're okay with that, right?" And you're like, I boxed in high school a little bit, maybe." He's like, yeah, that's fine. So we end up we go from shooting. I think we were probably shooting like all day. I think we left before lunch, and we got to, what was it, the Ambassador over on Soy 11 that was at.
Yeah, that's right. It was an Ambassador.
Yeah, and we show up there, and it's like all of a sudden I'm reffing boxing matches, and Tejas is like judging. Tejas like, okay.
Yeah, but that was not MMA, so it's all right.
No, it was like I guess it was technically pro boxing. I think the last two fights were pro and a couple amateur ones. But man, it was a wild day. We got some good shots that day. I think we were all over Sukhumvit. I think what we were shooting in Ari and was it Seppenquai?
Yeah, we also went down to the railway station, if you remember.
Oh yeah, that's right. We went to Hoi Kwang, and we tried to remember we tried to shoot the time lapse, and like the maid freaked out. Yeah. She's like waving the broom at the camera, like no. But yeah, the MRT is strict like that. They don't want you to film or shoot anything down in the underground passages. I guess for security reasons. But we had already shot that.
We're trying hyperlapse photography also. I mean, hyperlapse.
Yeah, we had shot that hyperlapse of like not the monument, but like the little display, and then I was trying to shoot a time lapse, and she freaked out.
That's right.
Joe's like, oh, so many nasal swabs.
Yeah, I saw that. But when you travel during COVID, I mean that's a mandatory requirement for all these tests. So it's very interesting. I'm coming from Fiji to Thailand. Fiji is a COVID-free country. I still had to do a pre-departure RT-PCR test, another nasal swab for no reason. Yeah, that's the requirement for Thailand to produce the medical certificate of having got RT-PCR done. And I went to Fiji. The Ministry of Health is where you get these nasal swabs done, and they need a ministry approval for them to use a RT-PCR kit for COVID-19. So it's quite interesting.
There's 0 active cases in Fiji right now, right?
So yeah, they had about 18 cases back in April last year, and after
18,
that it's been COVID-free. That's the maximum. Yeah.
Wow.
And now whatever the cases are basically what they call in border quarantine. So it's like caught during these quarantine stays. So Fiji is still COVID-free. You can walk around without a mask, go play soccer. Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, I guess that's the benefit of an island nation, right?
Yeah, I mean the connections are so difficult in the Pacific, and Fiji being one of the better connected countries, still managed to contain it, which is really, really nice.
I remember you telling me like some of the crazy flights you have to take to go to the different islands. Like you want to go to an island that's 2 hours away, you actually have to take a 3-hour flight back to Australia, then wait overnight, and then fly to the next island the next day.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, from Fiji, though we have flights to Solomon Islands, they are not necessarily every day. So you would have to go down all the way to Brisbane, reach there, and the morning flight, the next flight to Solomon Islands is in the morning. So you would have to spend the night in Brisbane and then go down to Honiara in Solomon Islands. So yeah,
how full are those flights?
They are pretty full, all of them, of them.
So people are traveling between the islands frequently.
Yes, they do, and a lot to Australia. So the flights from Australia are usually full. The direct flights from Fiji would be less full, but I mean, they operate pretty good.
Yeah, I get a lot of Australians go to Fiji for a holiday, right?
Yeah, that's their closest destination. I mean, holiday.
The closest tropical destination out in the middle of the ocean. And actually, Fiji got hit with what, two tsunamis, or not tsunamis, 2 typhoons during the COVID crisis?
3 tropical cyclones in 2020, and the last one being Category 5, which hit in December, and it hit Fiji with wind speeds of 345 kilometers per hour.
Oh my god! If you're a small island nation, that's going to be freaky.
Yeah, I mean it's devastated some of these islands completely. Smashed the power lines and water supplies. Schools have been completely torn apart. So yeah.
Did you get any photos of like some of the destruction from the typhoons, or that was you were there too much later because you were in India before that?
No, I mean it hit on 18th of December, so I was pretty much in Fiji, but it didn't hit Suva,
Mhm.
the capital of Fiji, and
Okay.
it hit north of the Viti Island, what they call, and
Mm.
that actually saved the country from having an economic collapse, in the sense that
Yeah.
COVID has already done the damage, and now
Mm.
TC Yasa would be causing further damage to the economy. But yeah,
Mm. That's crazy. I mean, it's so wild to think about these isolated places where people live, and the damage that can be done. You're already struggling from the COVID and like this global pandemic, but then on top of that, tropical cyclone after tropical cyclone after tropical cyclone, just battering it, and like really hammering down on the island, and like you're in quarantine, getting your nasal swabs going on, and like the country's falling apart around you.
yeah. I mean, these cyclones and the other disasters that add to COVID-19 is causing a huge amount of trouble for some of these countries.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, not nice. I mean, that's wild though. I mean, imagine some of the much smaller islands must really struggle from, that whole thing. Cause you went to, was it Kiribati it's called?
Yes, that's right.
And they're already struggling like infrastructure wise, right?
Absolutely. Kiribati is basically a country with 32 atolls, and it's,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, 800 or 811 square kilometers, but the spread, it's dispersed over 3.5 million square kilometers of the ocean. So you can just imagine how widespread these little islands are, and with a population of about 120,000 people.
So what on these little islands, what do people do for work? What do they do for a living?
A lot of it is involved in like the fishing industry. So they
Hmm.
go out on these big vessels fishing,
Okay.
and some of them have like some kind of crops that they grow. So primarily it's fishing, tourism, and
Hmm.
some sort of agriculture.
Okay. And on Fiji, it's the same.
Yes, Fiji is much bigger, so they do have sugarcane and
Hmm.
other industries, but these atoll nations, it can be very, very tough.
I always wonder about this, like these Pacific Islands, right there. You see, of course, most of the photos you see are like these really glamorous, beautiful shots, but life has to be pretty rough there, I would imagine.
Absolutely, the life is extremely tough for many of them, and now with COVID-19, you see many of these whose livelihoods depended on tourism are completely, hotels have shut. They have no
Mm,
jobs. They've gone back to their villages trying to help in farming, or doing some small
mm,
businesses. But the islands, some of them are so far away that there's
mm.
very little they can do to make a living. So it's extremely tough.
Yeah, it's wild to think about. Real quick, Jihan, one of the new subscribers, came over from Chris's channels in the chat. Jihan, how's it going, man? We're chatting with Tejas, who's in ASQ over in Thailand. So if you have any questions about ASQ, feel free to post them up to him. So Joe says bare knuckle tickets going at Jenkins Arena here in Florida on February 5th. Me and two of my sons VIP. Nice. Nice. I mean, I'd be a little nervous to go to a big event though, and especially in Florida where you guys have some out of control cases of the COVIDs. But yeah, bare knuckles always an awesome show. So who's the main event on that bare knuckle card, Joe? Jihan says that would be amazing to visit Fiji and these other islands. Yeah, I'm very envious of Tejas and his opportunity to go to these Pacific Islands and hang out, date all these Pacific Island women, all those things that he's got going on.
Yeah, Dana.
He just has like 40 kids around the islands now.
Yeah, I've lost count. It's all right.
I lost count. So but I'm sure like just being back in Bangkok is going to be a nice, relaxing kind of time for you because you lived here for so long. Then you were, like I said, you were in Fiji, back in India for a bit, and now you get the opportunity to be back here, and also the opportunity to probably not have to travel for a good amount of time, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that would allow me to explore and do more of stuff that I have not been able to do in Thailand.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to, being static in Thailand
Mm.
and not really moving. You've seen my travels, so
Mm.
it used to be crazy. So
Even before, like before you went to Fiji, when you were here in Bangkok, you were traveling so much that we would plan stuff, and they're like, "Oh no, I got to go here, I got to go there, I got assignment, I got to go do something." So, like you were always out, like Mongolia, Korea, like all these spots. So now that you're gonna be here and you're not gonna be able to travel, but we will be able to like go around domestically. We're probably gonna have the opportunity to do some of the stuff we talked about previously, some of the shots that we're really considering.
sorry, Dana, I think you're breaking. So
Oh, sorry. So I was saying that it's going to be nice now that you're going to be stationary in Bangkok, because even before you went to Fiji, when you were in Bangkok for like that last year you were here, you were traveling all the time. And so now that you're not going to have to be going somewhere like every week, it's going to give us the opportunity to maybe like go and get some shots or take some road trips, stuff like that, like we talked about before.
yeah, definitely. I would really love to get out there and do something differently and also explore the areas that were usually
Mm,
flooded with tourists and see now with a different perspective how's life
mm,
going on there and how are people managing, and it'll be a very interesting um, trip if we
yeah.
plan to get to some of these places.
And I hope we do. So Jihan asks, which ASQ are you in, Tejas, and how are you finding the experience? And then he's asking any news about reducing the quarantine time. So real quick, I'll answer about the quarantine time. Right now, there's no indication that they're going to reduce it anytime soon, just because we're in the middle of a surge of cases. And Tejas is in the. I'll let you answer where you're at, Tejas, and like just kind of touch again on how you're enjoying your time in quarantine and getting nasal swabbed.
Right, so I am actually at the Western Grand in Sukhumvit, and the experience is, I have nothing to complain here. The food is good. They have very well managed it. This hotel is also open to guests who are not in ASQ, so they have managed the floors very well. And you check in differently from a car park, and then they bring you into your room from the service elevators, and your food is basically delivered at your door. And you have a menu that you need to choose from. So by 4 p.m. today, I need to tell them what I want to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner tomorrow. And it's a menu that keeps changing every day. It's online, and you just have to go there and fill in what you want to eat. And it
Nice.
just comes at the time that you mention. And it's been pretty good actually.
Oh, it's awesome. And like you said, after your test comes back tomorrow, assuming it's negative, we hope you'll be able to go to the gym and go hang out by the pool, but not swim in the pool.
Yeah, you're not allowed to enter the pool, but you can go if you have a skipping rope or something. You can go and do skip. You can skip there or do some uh, other exercises. But yeah,
Nice.
but it'll be good. It'll be good to go to the gym and be out of the room.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good view, though. I mean, you've got a view of like the Asok intersection, the BTS. I mean, you've got a nice city view. Like you said, you can't see the sunset or the sunrise because of the buildings, but like you're still kind of in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good view of the city. It's
Mm,
it's a change from coming from the Pacific, but it's yeah,
yeah.
the view of the concrete jungles, I would say.
Yeah, chill. So what compare and contrast this ASQ to the ASQ you did in Fiji?
Well, the one in Fiji, again, the country, Fiji has been doing really well, and they have been
Mm,
putting all efforts to try and not have COVID or community spread. So in terms of that, it's very well managed. But at the ASQ, again, they have different hotels based on which flight and which country you come in from. So for me, it was a repatriation flight from India that I took, and the entire flight is put into one hotel. And the hotel was, I mean, it was a decent room, but not well managed, and I can imagine why, because probably they didn't have tourists, and it was staying empty until it became a ASQ quarantine facility.
Gotcha.
So I did have some issues, like I did have cockroaches in the room, and
Ooh.
well, the food was food was not all that great. But again, as I pointed out in the beginning, it's all the mindset that matters. I could have freaked out and said that it's unlivable here and starting to complain and calling to change my room. But I just decided to, try and sort it out rather than complaining, and that kind of doesn't disturb you overall, and you would have the rest of the quarantine in peace rather than trying to fight and causing trouble to yourself.
Nice. Yeah, and also like if you're complaining in the room in Fiji, like they're probably not going to be able to move you, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it depends
Yeah.
at what level you complain and what's the nature of the complaint. But I don't think they'll move you, because they would say it's risky to move, or what if you have COVID, and it's understandable.
And I mean, food wise, I've heard from a lot of other people that the food in Fiji is not great anyway.
Yeah, food wise, I didn't have options like I have here. It was very bland, with like some boiled meat and boiled vegetables and with boiled potatoes, salt. Yeah, it was all,
Sounds
everything
amazing.
boiled.
Sounds amazing. No
Yeah,
dragon fruit.
no fruits at all.
Oh, wow.
I would get a banana, I think, one in 3 or 4 days. Yeah,
Every 3 or 4 days, you get a banana.
yeah, yeah, that's about it.
Man, wow, that's rough. That is definitely a rough habit. A rough habit at it. Now you had to also quarantine before you left India, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Is that
So the
self
three
quarantine
quarantines
or is
have
that
no, it was in India was actually very surprising. It was quarantine, but I could leave the hotel and go literally to the town and come back. So it was
so?
it
It's
was
not really
basically a
quarantine.
hotel stay. No, it's not really quarantine. So I was taking the precautions myself, because there was a nasal swab that had to be taken 72 hours prior to the flight. So once the swab test was done, I avoided going out and coming in contact with anyone, because of obvious reasons. I didn't want to increase the risk of being positive by the time I reach in Fiji.
Nice. Jihan says Gordon Ramsay would love it. Jib says if you have to travel again, bring a couple of noodles from here with you. That way you don't have to eat that food from Fiji.
Yeah, that's well noted, Jib. But I don't think I'll be traveling to face another quarantine now. Hopefully not.
Hopefully,
But yeah.
unless you miss the nasal swabs, then you might be like, all right, well, I just want to get a couple nasal swabs more. I like it so much. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna feel good though, just to know you've had the first test now, and you have one more left before you leave, right? On what, day 15?
No, day 12. The results come in
Okay.
on day 13, I think. Yeah.
Okay, and then you have 2 more days to go after those results.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. That's not bad, man. And then you get to get out in the world. What are your plans when you first get out?
My plans when I first get out is basically set up the place where I'm going to stay. I mean, yeah, set it up and then go out somewhere. I just want to go and do some photography that I've been wanting to
Waiting
always
for.
do. So yeah.
Now, I know you said you've got the 800 the T800 bodies, right?
That's right.
Are you planning to upgrade the bodies? Maybe go to the mirrorless system or anything in mind? Because you've had those for a while. I mean, you must be feeling the itch to get some new gear.
Yeah, so I have been wanting to look at the new mirrorless, but being in Fiji, I don't have access to the new cameras.
Yeah.
So now is probably the time when I would go out and explore and see if I could get some new gear. But that's
Yeah.
definitely on the list.
Go over to MBK there, to the shop. This is what the Canon shop, and then there's the Nikon shop, like right in front of each
Yeah,
other. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
that's
take a
right.
trip with you. Oh wait, no, Jib's
Sure.
on this live stream. I won't take a trip with you. No, I'm not going to go to the camera shop. Yeah, no. Actually, there's a couple good shops over at Fortune Town too, but I don't think any that carry like top end Nikon gear.
We've been there too. We've been there together, right? Dana, if
Yeah,
you remember.
yeah. We've been to Fortune together. We've been to MBK together. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's a couple. I don't think anyone carries like the high end Nikon gear in Fortune Town. I mean, though, I think you got to go to MBK for that.
Yeah, that's right. I think MBK is
Yeah.
probably the place.
Yeah, and I switched over from Canon to Fuji while you were away, so now I'm loving my Fuji film.
Right. So you're doing videos with it?
So I shoot video with it, but I mostly use the Fuji for photography, right? So I've got the 35 mil prime 1.4, and that's what I shoot a lot of, like, my especially product stuff with, and like stuff around the studio I'll shoot with that. But I've also got the 1655 G lens, and I've got their 50, I think it's a 50 f2. It's like a $80 lens to get the 50 f2.
I guess so.
No more new
more
cameras at home. Yeah, so I've got the two Canons, the two Canons for photo. I've got my Fuji film, and then we have all the video gear. So I'm sure Jib wouldn't mind one more. Just one more would be okay. Chris released a nice video about Bangkok's Greenland. Yeah, I saw that. The Bangkok Chow video that he put out today was really fantastic. And it's unfortunate that the park was closed while Chris was there, but I mean, I understand why. But if you ever get the chance to go to Bangkok Chow, it's absolutely beautiful. Jib and I actually filmed a ecotourism video there for a client a couple years back, and we got to go all over. We had a guy who was a local. He grew up on Bangkok Chow, bring us around. We got to go to like the mushroom farm and a bunch of other places that were really fun. And it's a great place. We also stayed at there's a hotel there, which I think is in the park. So Chris probably couldn't have gotten to it. Called I think it's called Bangkok Treehouse. Hey Jib, come over here if you get a chance. I think it's called It should say no about cameras. I think it's called the Bangkok Treehouse is the name of this hotel. And it's like a bunch of containers, and like it's built into the mangrove, so you can see the water underneath you. But the downside was you could see the trash washing in underneath your hotel, because there's like a glass floor in the bathroom. And I remember looking down, and it's just like sitting there like bubbling over, like with all this trash. But then I was like, at the same time, I'm sitting on the toilet and the glass floor is right in front of you. I was like, I saw people kayaking out here like an hour ago. What if they kayak under my toilet and they see me? No, Jib says no for camera. Babe, we were just talking about Bangkok Chow. Like, come on screen real quick. I'll put it this. We were talking about Bangkok Chow. Like, what was the name of that hotel? The Bangkok. Was it Bangkok Treehouse?
I think so. Let me Google a little bit.
She's gonna Google it, but yeah, it was cool because I remember we had this big hammock up on the roof.
Oh, okay.
Come this way. All right. Yeah, now we have Jib in frame. So don't you like Tejas' beard? I think he looks better with the beard.
No.
Yes, much better with the. Hey guys, do me a favor, throw a B in the chat if you like Tejas' beard, right? If you think you should keep the beard, throw a B in the chat. If you think you should get rid of the beard, also throw a B in the chat.
That's a good one, Dana.
Not fair.
That way we know what's up. Oh yeah, so Bangkok Treehouse, is that the name? Yeah, Bangkok Treehouse. Yeah, it's a nice hotel. If you ever get out to Jihan, if you ever get to Bangkok Chow and you want to check it out, I would definitely say that Bangkok Treehouse is the place to stay at, just because it's so nice. Oh yeah, take shower, yeah.
Check that
The lizard.
Like
no,
the slant.
Oh yep.
At one side,
yeah.
like you put down until
no one outside can see you.
Unless you want to share.
Yeah, that's it. One of the funny things was I remember the from the room, I was like, I kept hearing noises, and I looked, I was like, what is that? And there are people walking on the footpath outside, and like you could see them like literally like a meter away. Yeah.
But as a trees, like a bush, kind of like block you from like the walkway. So
the first level.
yes, but the second floor, no one can reach to your room anyway.
We can still see. But I remember when we were on the we almost fell asleep on the roof, and there were all these mosquitoes. I remember like kind of looking up, and then we could see the bats eating all the mosquitoes above us.
Yeah, bring like a mosquito
repellent,
repellent with you. It will help.
Yeah. And then we found that what was the name of the guy who was our guide?
Ugh.
Yeah. Can't remember.
Dana, do you still have your bike?
Yeah, I still have the Honda.
I show it to you. Right?
Yeah. Are you gonna buy a bike when you get here, Tejas?
I haven't thought about it.
You should. You should buy a bike. You should, absolutely. Get a little Honda. Zip around in. Look, Jib's like, no. Why not? Why not? Why not, Jib?
It's dangerous to ride a bike. Yeah.
It's dangerous to walk here. So what's the difference?
Well, to walk.
I've been
it's
hearing.
Like
I've been hearing
you
this.
fight with like illegal merchant cart sell like fried food that might burn you, but you can like jump out of that easily, or fight with the motorcycle that ride on the footpath illegally. That's just a motorcycle. But if you ride motorcycle on the road, you fight with buses, taxis, and like trucks
and the police. The senior Frank brings up a great point. He says, if you can grow a beard, you should grow a beard. So many men cannot, and we must do it for them. That's right. We have to do it for the culture. We have to do it for the culture. We all have to beard strong. So where can Tejas, where can you check out your photo work? Do you have an Instagram set up? You used to have your own portfolio online.
Yeah. So actually, I'm coming up with a website which should be up in next 10 or 15 days. So
You have about 10 more days to work on it in ASQ.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll have a all new website with my photos and the work.
Nice. So what will that be at? What's the domain?
It's called pixelit.com.
Okay. So can you type it in the chat, and I'll throw it up on the screen so people can check it out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. So real quick, Senior Frankman, have you played with your M1 yet? Because I've been playing around with mine, man. I love it. The Mac M1 is so fantastic. The Mac Mini with the M1 chip. And actually, so Frank and I both ordered the same dock, the little mini dock for the M1, and I've been waiting for mine to come. It was supposed to arrive on the 18th. It shipped via a company called iParcel, and so it was supposed to arrive on the 18th. I was waiting for it, and I got a notice that it will arrive a day late on the 19th. So I changed my plans. Wait for it on the 19th. Now, since the 9th, the tracking says that it has arrived in Bangkok and is going through customs. Late in the day on the 19th, they update to say that it will now arrive sometime between the 19th and the 26th due to an airline delay. But how can they have checked my package into customs, and now there's an airline delay holding it up? It makes no sense. I've emailed their customer service, and they have the worst customer service. They're like, oh, no, it's an airline delay. So I was like, well, it was already checked into customs. Why is there an airline delay? And they're just not responding to me. Yeah, they sent it back to the U.S.
Yeah.
No, Frank set it up to make sure it worked, but I've been too busy to play with it with video projects. I'm telling you, man, it's great. I got to get that damn dock, though, because I've got the 2 GB. I ended up getting the 2 GB Crucial drive. And it was so much cheaper than the Samsung. So I grabbed it, and I'm just waiting to put it into this dock that's coming. And I've got, I feel like I'm not fully utilizing my Mac Mini yet because I don't have this dock on hand. So I'm like, driving me crazy. But yeah, I'm excited to get up and running. You'll see it when you get over here, Tejas. The Mac Mini is insane for video editing. I mean, it's so it's just mind blowing how good this thing is at like editing. And once Adobe releases like Photoshop and Lightroom that's been optimized for that M1 silicon, it's gonna be insane. But doing
I'll have a look.
video editing Final Cut Pro with that is just out of this world.
That's nice. I might consider getting one.
You absolutely should. It's cheap. I was about to buy the Mac Mini, the Intel version of the Mac Mini prior to this. That was available. It was an Intel i7, 64 gigs of RAM with a 1 terabyte hard drive. It would have cost me 84,000 baht, I think. And that's like the maxed out specs on the Mac Mini. So I was like, well, I know they're going to update. They've got an event scheduled to release an update. And so let me see what happens. And they released the M1 version of the Mac Mini. And I was like, oh, okay, but it only goes up to 16 gigs of RAM. That's the maximum you can do. I was like, let me wait and see what the reviews look like. People started posting reviews about these crazy render times, these crazy, like all this insane drop in latency and everything. And so I pulled the trigger right away on the 16 gig M1 chip because it's half the price of the i7 Mac Mini. And it outperforms it by leaps and bounds. It's insane.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Frank says the dock works great. The hard drive is recognized and it sits well, so no random disconnects. Nice. Yeah, I hopefully mine gets delivered sometime between now and the 26th, or I'll be having to reorder from the US because it's not available here and wait again for it to get delivered. But I'll obviously order something that won't ship by this stupid company iPartial. But yeah, Tejas, you should definitely check out the M1 Mac Mini.
It's coming in from the US?
Yeah, so I had to buy it from Amazon in the US because there were none available. This dock, the specific dock that I'm getting, wasn't available in Thailand.
Right.
So even the Mac Mini, I had to order online from Apple, and they shipped it. So Apple imports it for me. They pay the duty and everything, so I don't pay anything extra. And then it gets delivered. But I couldn't even go to the Apple store and order it customized. I had to order it from Apple and have it customized and shipped.
Okay.
So, Born Nomad says a lot of commercial goods are pre-processed for customs clearance from company storage at airport of departure to expedite transport. Then the aircraft go out of service. Yeah, so I'm just hoping. Like, I've never had a shipment from this iPartial company before, and the seller on Amazon is the one who chose this company. Apparently, it's owned by UPS. Which is kind of shocking because I've never had an issue with a UPS package inbound that I've imported. And it's this iPartial company has just been a complete, for lack of a better term, shit show. And unfortunately, I'm not happy with the service at all or the customer service. So if you're in Asia, like I don't know what they're like in the US or anywhere else in the world, but if you're in Thailand, I would not recommend using them at all. So if you buy a Mac Mini, Tejas, and you get the dock, make sure you buy it from someone who's not going to ship it with iPartial.
Right.
So do you have a MacBook Pro, or you work off an IBM now?
No,
or a
off
PC.
an IBM.
Yeah. I mean, just the way the silicon chip is made, you'll see it when you're here. Like, don't make any decisions until you play with it. But man, is it phenomenal as far as like just a chipset goes. I mean, and the performance on this is for only having 16 gigs of RAM, Tejas, this thing just burns through whatever you put in front of it. One guy posted a video where he had the $60,000 Mac Pro and he had the Mac Mini with the M1 and he ran them head to head. And, of course, the $60,000 Mac Pro with the Afterburner card beat it, but it was fairly close. I mean, it didn't destroy it like you would hope it would, given the cost difference.
That's insane. I mean, it already sounds like you should be marketing for them, Dana.
It's magic. It's just straight magic, Tejas. It's crazy. I don't know how it works so well. It just does. So Jihan says Apple's going to release a new M chip this year with their laptops. Apparently, they're going to have even better performance and cooling. They're also going to release a new iMac. So, yeah, what I heard, Jihan, was that they're going to release a chip called the M1X, or at least that's the working name. and it's going to be, instead of the 8-core chip that the M1 is, the M1X is going to be a 16-core chip, and it's actually going to be 12 performance processors, or 12 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. And then the chip has a GPU on it. So instead of being an 8-core GPU, it's going to be a 16-core GPU, and it will go up to 64 gigs of RAM on that chip. So I'm sure it's just going to be an absolute monster. But yeah, that's the one that's going to go with the iMac. And the M1 chip that exists now goes into the MacBook Pro 13. And so apparently that new M1X, or whatever they end up calling it, I don't know if that is actually the final name, but that will go into the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And if the specs that were leaked are correct, it's going to be a monster, just based on how good this M1 chip is. I mean, the M1 chip just blows my mind when I use it. It's when I drop like 5K video onto the timeline, it just renders, and you can work with it right away. I'm just like, what is going on here? And like, or on my old MacBook Pro, the computer I'm using right now for the stream, I could export a video that was like an hour, like that was like 20 minutes long. It would take like 3 or 4 hours to export in 4K. And now if I'm doing a 5K video that's 20 minutes long, it exports in like 30 minutes. So it's mind-blowing.
Oh, that's really amazing. And
yeah. And that's an 8-core. So if they go to 16 with a 12-4 split, it's going to be stupid. Oh, so it's an exciting piece of technology for like a creative perspective, like being able to edit, from the creative perspective of being able to edit video, edit photos, and do designs, like 3D designs or 2D designs with this computer, and how good it works is just insane. You know, and like the time it saved me is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's where it's very critical, the time, because sometimes you'd have to wait for hours, and then it would give you errors or would not render, then you have to start all over again.
Yeah. No, I had a few videos that on the MacBook Pro that failed to render at 5K, and that's what, or even at 4K, and I've not had any issues. I did a video that was an hour long, 55 minutes long. I rendered it out on the M1 5K. Huge video, by the way, huge video. And I ended up like file wise, I rendered it out in ProRes and rendered out though an hour long, and it only took an hour and like 26 minutes to render.
That's nice.
Oh, Avid is already working with Apple for a future M-powered Mac Pro, but I didn't hear that from anyone, Born Nomad Productions, not at all. I can only imagine how stupid that's going to be. A Mac M-powered Mac Pro. Now, would they still offer the, you would know this, Born Nomad Productions, or at least you would have an idea because of your background. Would they still offer the Afterburner card, or would that just not be needed with the M chip at all? Or would it just be completely ridiculous and just be stupid fast to put the Afterburner card on a M-powered, Mac Pro with like a 1.5 terabytes of RAM on chip? 1.5 terabytes of RAM you can get in the Mac Pro. No, there's 16 inches the biggest MacBook, Joe. Senior Franks, I have an iMac with 8 gig video card, 64 gigs of RAM, 4-core i9, and MacBook Pro with a 4 gig video card, 32 gigs of RAM with an 8-core i9. The one render test I did with the Mac Mini was considerably faster. Yeah. Actually, so Frank, let me ask you, because I think this is the case with all the i9 MacBooks. They all get throttled because the overheating in the MacBook is just ridiculous with that i9, so they throttled the chips down. So I don't know if that's something you can override or not, but I would imagine that would get a little crazy. And I'll tell you what, the fan on my Mac Mini has never kicked on, even when rendering 5K video. It runs so cool. It, like, the power draw is like nothing. It's like 5 amps or whatever, 5 watts. Yeah, so with the Mac Mini, your i9 Mac Mini, you have to run an external GPU, an external graphics card, which is again 250 watt power supply just to run it. So Tejas, do you do your photo editing? Do you do your batch processing in Lightroom, then move to Photoshop, or what's your creative flow on that?
Yeah, Lightroom. I use a lot of Lightroom and then Photoshop for more detailed work. But yeah, primarily the two of them.
Have you ever tried any of the non-Adobe photo products like Infinity or anything like that?
No, not really. I've just I was happy with these two and then just stuck to it. I haven't really explored the new or any other softwares.
Yeah, I think for me, like I've been using Photoshop and Lightroom for so long, and yeah, I like them. They're really good, but I think as far as like people, I am upset, and other people I know talk about they're really upset with that whole monthly billing that Adobe does.
Yeah,
that the subscription service. And I've tried Affinity. I tried the demo version of Affinity, which was unlocked full version. You get it for like 14 days. And it was just missing some of the key features I use all the time from Photoshop and from Illustrator that I was like, I can't justify making the switch because these are things that save me so much time.
Do you batch process a lot? So
yeah. Well, Lightroom, I don't batch a ton, but it's like just like the edits or the creative work I do, you know, the tools that are in Photoshop that I'm used to, I couldn't replicate their usefulness in Infinity. Also, Frank says not too much throttling. They fixed that with an update. Oh, nice. So the chip does not overheat as much, I guess, after the update. That's good. But I'll tell you, the M1 chip, the M chip, you don't even have to worry about it. Capture One is the best, Mike, huh? Capture One. I don't think I've used that. So let me Google that.
I haven't used. Yeah.
Capture One. So Mike, let me ask you, what sets it apart from Photoshop or Infinity, anything like that? Capture One professional photo software. Also, it looks like it's also a subscription model. If I'm seeing this right. Yeah, it's like for Fujifilm. Oh, they have a Fujifilm specific version. $14 a month. Huh. Because I know that Lightroom has some issues with the sensor type on Fuji, and you have to download. I have to download like patches because I use Fuji, so that it reads the colors correctly. That's what they're dealing with at the moment. It's the architecture and bus path optimization that is in development for the new updated Avid cards. Nice. Oh man, I can't. It's just going to be ridiculous because even with the M chip alone, then you start talking about the Avid stuff and anything else that you might add in. It's going to be absolutely crazy. The fact that Intel didn't want to do this for Apple for so long. Apparently, Apple's been asking Intel to integrate everything on a single chip for years, and Intel is just like, no, it's not going to work. They did it themselves, and it just blows every Intel processor out of the water. See if it gets hot and the fan gets loud, but chugs along with some minor throttle. All right, so the MacBook still overheats with that i9 a bit, or not overheats, but heats up. Yeah, so that Capture One, Tejas, take a look at this Capture One.
I'll have a look. Yeah,
it's got a Sony version, a Nikon version, exclusive for Nikon cameras, exclusive for Sony, exclusive for Fuji, and then an all cameras version. So nothing for Canon. Huh. Oh, so you can do the subscription plan, or you can buy a perpetual license. So it's like $200 for the perpetual license or $14 a month for subscription. So what is it? What makes it unique for the Fuji plan? Yeah, at least I've never even heard of this, so I'm kind of excited. Unleash the power of your Fujifilm photos with the industry's most powerful photo editing tools. Get everything you need to be creative as you want and work as fast as you need. And with true-to-life color processing tailored to Fujifilm cameras, your imported files will look more authentic than ever. Lets you edit Fujifilm simulations. Oh, okay, I see. So in the Fujifilm cameras, I don't know if you know this, Tejas, but in the Fujifilm cameras, there's film simulations and stuff in there, and you can actually. So this is saying that you can actually edit it with the simulation applied. So you're pulling out a raw file, but with that simulation applied to it.
That's nice.
Frank says Afterburner is a standalone graphics processing separate from the M chip. Would be likely for the Mac Pro, according to most tech YouTube. Afterburner is a really specific tool for ProRes. Yeah, it only works, like it only gives you advantage with ProRes. That's it. But I'm wondering if they would integrate that into the M1 chip somehow, or like if they made a special M chip for the Pro series, the Mac Pro series. Would they just do away with Afterburner and integrate all of that into a chip version? Because they seem to be going to where everything is on the same wafer. So I'm curious as to how that would pan out. Have you used Mac before, Tejas, or you've always been a PC guy?
No, I have used Mac. Yeah, I have.
You're just on PC at the moment.
That's right. Been on it for quite some time now.
I made the switch about a decade ago from PC to Mac, and I've never looked back. There were a few times early on where I kind of didn't get all the functionality from stuff I had built up in my ecosystem on PC, but now that I'm so integrated into the Mac ecosystem with my workflow. I have the iMac, I have the Mac Mini, the iPad, the iPhone. Everything kind of works seamlessly for me, so I really can't complain. It's so good.
Yeah, I can imagine this. The Apple products that I have, there's hardly anything to complain about.
Yeah. A lot of people complain about it being like a closed garden type of thing, ecosystem, but I think that's what makes it so robust, is that they control everything so nicely, whereas Android and PC are just wide open. So you're still using Cap 110, you own it. Nice. So you're not paying a monthly on it, you own it outright. So what do you think, Mike? What separates from a creative workflow process? What separates Capture One from Photoshop or Infinity or anything else you've tried? So Afterburner is really big. There are limitations to what you can fit on the chip. Well, I mean, if you're making it yourself, are there really limitations, Frank? Like if Apple's making it and they're designing it from the ground up, I mean, what are the limitations in reality? Yeah, I've seen the card. I know it's huge, but I mean, I guess anything's possible if you're building it from the ground up. Capture One is by Phase One Camera, the very best chips. Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna try it. I think I saw they have a demo version on the website. I'll give it a try. You can try it for free. Why not? Now, I wonder if it's optimized for the M1 chip yet. It's interesting. So you've only ever used Photoshop and Lightroom, Tejas? You've never tried any of the other software?
No, not really. I've tried, but I've just stuck to Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yeah. It's weird because once you're used to using something, regardless what it is, right? You're kind of stuck in that frame, that not stuck, but like your workflow is so good and so smooth when you're at that point that to change is like a big learning curve and it slows you down when you're doing it professionally.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's too much of a downtime, too much of a loss in productivity.
I also use Premiere Pro for like videos. So
I used to use Premiere Pro and I switched back to Final Cut. I just enjoy the workflow more.
Right.
And I think I put in the time to build the workflow and, put in all the tools I want into Final Cut. And I just enjoy working with it more, especially, I mean, now on the Mac, the M1 Mac Mini, with the way that it handles Final Cut versus, Premiere, just night and day difference. What do we got here? I'm gonna wait. Now it's funny. I've got like the comments open on both sides, so I'm waiting for it to catch up. It's not a Photoshop replacement, more a Lightroom on steroids. Okay, email the MI op for response. They're good. All right, good. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I think it. I guess I'm gonna try the I'm gonna try the demo version, and when I'm next time I'm gonna do some batch processing and play around with it. But if you're saying it's that much better, it's Lightroom on steroids. Lightroom's probably my least favorite Adobe product that they have out there as far as like the workflow with it. So I'll definitely give it a try. But there are some things I do that this was the tough thing. Like with Lightroom and Photoshop, I do some stuff that integrates between the two, which was also the tough thing about switching over to Final Cut Pro, because there's definitely some work I do in Premiere that blends really well with how what do you call with Audition for cleaning up the audio. So if I want to really process my audio and clean that up, doing that in Audition is a big help with Premiere. But you find some decent workarounds with Final Cut Pro, so you can make it happen. Cap One can render several versions of files, a JPEG, TIFF, RAW, all to that's
very
nice.
interesting.
Yeah, you can't do that with Lightroom.
No way.
You shoot everything raw, Tejas?
It depends. I mean, not always, but very often, yes.
I always have my camera set to shoot both, right? So I shoot to each card, RAW and JPEG. And yeah, 9 times out of 10, I just end up using the JPEG. So what I'll end up doing if I'm shooting something, I'm just going to transfer it to my phone, and then I'll tweak it on my phone and upload it. So I'm just using the JPEG, not the RAW.
Right. I mean, if I'm sure that I need to use the RAW, that's when I use RAW and JPEG both. But if I'm doing some casual shoots and I know I'm not going to edit much, so then I would just shoot JPEG. But when I'm shooting RAW, then I would shoot both RAW and JPEG.
Yeah, usually I'll apply like just a film simulation inside my Fuji to the JPEG and then get it right out of camera, and it looks fantastic. I think Fuji shoots probably the best black and white simulation on any mirrorless system that I've tried. It's such nice contrast, such nice depth and richness to it. Phenomenal for me.
All the more day now, we need to go out and shoot.
Yeah. 10 more days, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we'll have to pick a spot that we can get out when you get out and like your first, like kind of like after you settle in and recover. Let's go out and do like a street walk. Maybe we'll do Chinatown or something. Go do some street photography.
Sure.
Or maybe we'll go like part of like the old city, like near Democracy Monument.
That's a very good area too. I mean.
Yeah. The town, the city hall is over there. That's a nice building to shoot with all that angled glass.
Yeah. Do you also do long exposures or?
I've not done long exposure with the Fuji, and I don't have an ND set for my Fuji either, so it'd be difficult to do a long exposure. Right. Basically impossible to do a long exposure without the NDs, daytime anyway. Mike says Raw's insurance policy. Many times the JPEGs are good. And what do you shoot on, Mike? What's your body? What's your lens choice? ASQ is 15 days or 16 days, Tejas? 15 days, 15 nights, 16
nights.
Days?
Yeah, you get released on the 16th day.
Nice. Yeah, I want to know what you shoot on, Mike. What's your body? What's your primary lens choice? I love just walking around with my 35 on my XH1 on the Fuji. That 35 prime is like really ideal, and I love how everything's like manual on the Fuji, so it's all very clicky. My buddy Eric shoots on Minority Nomad. I had him on a live stream the other day. He shoots on a Sony, and everything's like menu driven, so you're just using these little buttons all the time to go through the menus. Nikon D750. Nice. What's your primary lens that you like to shoot on, Mike? It's fun. I always think like I have the 16 to 55 Fujifilm G lens 2.8, and I always think that's going to be my go-to, and I just always end up loving that 35.
I use a lot of the 50 but
Yeah, you like that 50 a lot.
yeah,
Short zoom
24/7.
2470. Yeah, it's a great lens. 2470, 2870. Huh. Joe has the Fujifilm Insta Mini 90 instant film camera. Instant film camera. What is that, like a Polaroid type thing, or is it just a film simulation on digital? Or does it print? I think that the Mini 90 is like one of those square Instagram things that prints like 1:1 aspect ratio photos. Is that what that is, Joe? 35 matches the human eye rendering. Yeah, 35 is something about the shooting on a 35. It's just wide enough to be interesting. Just zoomy enough that it's not too wide. I do like shooting on, like, I have it. I don't have it for my Fujifilm, but on my Canon, I have a 8mm, I think. And that it's so wide, it creates this really unique perspective, like, especially for street photography, because you can get so much of the environment in with it, but you have all that. You do get a lot of distortion on 8mm. What's your widest lens, Tejas?
12.
12 prime or 12 on the
Prime.
wide end of a zoom? Prime. What do you shoot with that? Architecture, street photography?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I used to do some weird sort of shots. Architecture will get distorted on the edges, so perspective corrections will be very difficult. But it's more for creative kind of shots that I would use that lens, not for.
Have you ever shot on a shift tilt?
Sorry?
What do they call it? A tilt shift lens? One of the ones that tilts up?
Yeah,
so
I haven't. I have just tried it out, but I haven't shot really on it.
Yeah, I tried one out at a demo, and like, you can't really shoot it like you're in a mall, so like you're not shooting anything that you're gonna get like the advantage of using it on. So it's kind of crappy, but those are what they use for like those long architectural shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frank says if he's walking around without an array of lenses, I usually carry the 35 or the 100 macro. 100 macro is an interesting lens. I now, like, when I go out, maybe I'm just lazy, but I don't want to carry like every lens with me anymore. So I'm either throwing just a prime on, or I throw that zoom on if I don't know what my environment's going to be. Stuck's here. Good evening, Dana and guest. Hey, Stuck, how you doing, man? Tejas, this is Stuck. He comes by the channel all the time.
Hi, Stuck.
So, Stuck, if you have any questions about ASQ in Bangkok, Tejas is in ASQ right now at the Westin in Soy Cowboy. I mean, also.
Sorry, go.
So you couldn't do ASQ at the Dollhouse, Tejas? Instant film, Polaroid film. Okay. Yeah, tilt shift 17mm is killer for architecture. Yeah, man. Like I said, I've never shot with it, Mike, right? So I've always been fascinated by like the construction of those lenses, never shot with it. And I got to try it in a mall, and there's just nothing to like even look at with it that you could get like a quality perspective from. But hopefully someday. Hopefully, I don't even think they make tilt shifts for Fujifilm, but maybe with an adapter.
Maybe
someday.
Mike, you should join us if you're free when we are going out for one of our shoots, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, you in Bangkok, Mike? Do you want to come out and do like a street walk with us when Tejas is out of when he's out of ASQ? And Frank, you too, man. If you want to grab your array of lenses and come out with us. Frank lives one soy over from me, Tejas. Well, one main soy. He lives on 95. I live on 93.
Great. Yeah, we should all catch up and do a photo trip somewhere.
Frank, are you down for that? Mike, are you down? Oh, so Stuck says he wish he needed information on ASQ, but this year is out for him. Joe's in Florida too. He says that's his Disney camera, the Polaroid one. Stuck. I can tell you right now, though, T just said no girls from Soy Cowboy allowed in the ASQ hotel, no matter how many you order. Well, I'll tell you what, though, Tejas, when I was a student at a university, you know which one, my dorm said no women allowed, and I often got around that rule.
Yeah, Dana, you want to swap? Come over to the ASQ.
No, that's
I
okay.
see
That's
what
okay.
And then
Senior
we'll hear
Frank
a
said,
different version of what's Dana up to.
yeah, Senior Frank says if he was shooting at the dollhouse, he'd use his macro probe lens. You might reveal some things you don't want to see. Jihan, are Nana or Cowboy open? If they are, do they shut early? They are not open at all. They are ghost towns. Oh, Mike, he would love to, but he's stuck in Detroit. Yeah, Mike, I almost moved to Detroit instead of Bangkok. It was when I sold my house in Cleveland, I was going to buy a building in Detroit, and I just decided like I can't do winter. But I like Detroit as a city. And actually, have you seen the I just see Dib's comment. I hear that. I think she's talking about the probe lens. Or she might be talking about my dorm room adventures. Before we met, Jib, before we met. I wasn't living in the dorm when we met. I forget what I was saying. Oh, yeah, no. Soy Cowboy, Nana, shut down. Oh, it's Detroit. I was talking about Detroit. Yeah, I like Detroit as a city. It's great, but yeah, I don't think I could live there full time. Just because of the winter and like after having been through a couple winters in Cleveland and coming from the East Coast, it's a bit rough. Oh, gee, and I see this fucking. I had 3 inches of snow last night. Damn. God damn. So Frank says as long as it's not in the morning, so we could plan. It's cool right now. If it's still cool when you get out of ASQ, just we could do an afternoon thing, like meet up for lunch and head out. Frank,
Sure,
what's the earliest you can? What's the earliest you can roll out of Soy 95? 3 inches of snow, man. That's why I can't be in Detroit. Mike, have you ever seen the hastily made Cleveland tourism videos where they highlight basically all like these crappy things about Cleveland? At the end, they're just like, at least we're not Detroit. Summers in Detroit. I enjoy going to South Detroit, which is what, Windsor, Ontario. Detroit versus Bangkok. Duh. Yeah, right. Yeah, it wasn't much of a choice once I realized Detroit or Bangkok. But I was property. This is 8 years ago, so property was really cheap in Detroit. I don't know if it still is, but I was basically looking at buying an entire commercial building for a third of what I was selling my house for. But Detroit's a fun city, man. I always had a good time there. It's one of these interesting kind of like, I guess, post-industrial revolution Midwest cities, or they call it the Rust Belt. But something unique there. It's interesting. Yeah, so Frank, let us know, or during the week, 1 p.m. Weekends are more flexible, but I'm better company after 1. Yeah, I guess we could all meet up and do lunch and then head out somewhere and do a shoot.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Anyone else on the stream who's in Bangkok, you want to come out and shoot, let us know. More the merrier. We'll pick a location. Like I said, maybe we'll do old part of the city. We'll take the train, or even like, because I'm in.
They can suggest if you have any ideas.
Yeah.
And
I'm on the south part of Sukhumvit, so we could head anywhere south of here too, where a lot of people don't go. So it'd be, unique. The old town Bangkok gets photographed a lot. Chinatown gets photographed a lot. We'd definitely find something fun and interesting. Yeah. Jib says that, Frank, we should go knock on your door in the morning market. Let us know your building. We'll come by. Ring the bell. Ring and run. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, run. We'll just blame it on the Cambodians. I wish. Yeah, hopefully, man. So Joe was talking about, he was trying to get into Thailand. He was talking on the Bangkok Strange live stream today. He was trying to get into Thailand this year, but some circumstances might keep him out. So he's thinking about doing an RV or doing like one of those conversions and driving around the U.S. Since, if you can't leave, but he can go pretty much anywhere domestically for now. Hit the open road American style. Oh, Frank says his girlfriend will enjoy the company. She's a morning person, Frank. Jib's a bit of a morning person. I like to sleep a tad later than Jib. I wish if you come to Mumbai, I can show you guys around and feed you some amazing food. What's the food like in Mumbai? Like, does it have its own style, different than the rest of the country? If you come early enough, you may catch me before I go to sleep. Oh, you're that much of a night owl, Frank. I'm not that bad. Tejas, you been to Mumbai?
Yes, I have been.
How's the food?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Mumbai has I mean,
Has
lots
what?
of interesting stuff. Lot of interesting stuff to do. So.
Oh, nice. Nice.
No,
Probably
no
some good
burgers.
shit. No beef, right? My problem, I got to watch out for ghee if I'm in India. I can't eat ghee. I'm lactose intolerant, so any dairy, they sneak ghee in on everything in Indian food and don't tell me. And then I find out later. She keeps a normalist schedule because she has classes a few days a week for school and English lessons. Yeah, normal schedule's not bad. Also, Mumbai is like a mix of a lot of different Indian foods.
Yeah.
Oh, man, your daughter still doesn't know when she's getting the shot, Joe. That's rough. Joe's daughter is a healthcare professional, and she's waiting on the vaccination. She doesn't know when she's going to get it. Whoa, Frank, you go to sleep between 6 and 8 a.m. Damn. Do you have blackout curtains? That's to be, and with the market going on, that morning market over in your soy, dude, it's gonna be crazy to get to sleep. Morning market, sun, man. Road trip, you and the grandson, do it, man. Get that RV, it's open road, Joe. Danny, you're vegan, right? Yeah, I'm vegan. Absolutely, there are a lot of vegan friendly places here, and also vegetarian. Yeah, I find that most Indian food, as long as you tell them like you don't eat, like you're vegan, you don't eat dairy products, no problem at all. It's probably the one cuisine, the one like ethnic food around the world that's just easy to make, vegan, vegetarian, no matter what. And then someone who's not vegan or vegetarian has no problem either. So like you can both enjoy whatever. That's like the greatest thing about Indian food. That and all the flavor, tons of spices. Senior Frank, you sleep in that time that I go to school. Yeah, Jim's on her way to the school and Frank's going to bed. I have blackout curtains and color LEDs to emulate sunlight during the night. Oh. So during the night you run the LED, keeps you awake. Is that how that works? With the so what is it, just like the 6,000 Kelvin LEDs? Mike's going to sorry to hear that, Mike. Looking forward to you getting back when you're done. hopefully you have a short driveway. Man, oh, I do not miss shoveling snow or running the snow blower or any of that craziness, for sure. You ever lived where it snowed, Tejas?
Yeah, I mean, not snow as such, but I've been to Mongolia with minus 35, minus 40. So
Yeah, but you didn't live there, right? Like you were there for
I haven't.
what,
I
like a
haven't
month?
lived.
You were
Yeah,
there for like a month though, right?
that's right. I haven't lived with snow.
So Gian says, just ask for John. Am I saying this right? Gian variations and you should be good. Jan? Can you
Jane.
write that for Jane? Okay. So is that like a Indian version of vegan?
Yeah, that's usually
Yeah.
Jain food is vegan. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is there a Jane rest? You know if there's a Jane restaurant in Bangkok?
There used to be one in Sukhumvit, but I just can't recall where it is. Let
Nice.
me see if I can find it for you.
Oh yeah, please. You're the man. Oh, so your girlfriend's going to school and you're passing out. You wake up and everything's all good. Can vegans eat barbecue? If it's barbecue vegetables, yeah, Joe. Absolutely. 100-foot driveway. Oh, that's rough. That is rough, Mike. Sorry to hear that. 100 feet, 3 inches of snow. It's probably a wet snow too, not like a light powder. It's probably like super heavy and wet. Indian has the best vegan food, in my opinion. I'm not vegan, so I haven't tried a lot. Northeastern Indian and Nepal had the best food, in my opinion. Okay, nice. I love Indian food, and when I'm in Malaysia, Malaysian street food they call mamak. It's like Indian Muslim style food, and a lot of it is vegan. It's really, really good. And it's also like part of the atmosphere and the culture of being in Malaysia and like hanging out at these spots. But the food is good. I've been known to eat a tad too much of it late at night because they're open like all night long. And it's funny because obviously they're Muslim places. There's no drinking or anything. But if you're there late when the clubs let out, these Mamak restaurants fill up with all the drunk Chinese people coming out of the clubs on the weekend. It's like just like eating like the same food. It's hilarious to see. It's just kind of like one of these like nice little environment things that you see in Malaysia. That's makes that country so unique. Lights help. They're not absolute. I've been on this schedule since I moved here, so I keep track of my business in the U.S. I don't need to, but hard to sleep when your clients are working. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Saras veg food at Sukhumvit. Oh, okay. Saras veg food at Sukhumvit. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to screen cap that now because that is definitely getting tried.
When was it last that you were in Malaysia, Dana?
Oh, 2019. Probably, I'd have to look at my passport. Probably October 2019.
Okay.
I was actually about to go in early 2020 to Malaysia to meet with investors and for a project I'm working on. And Jib was like, you shouldn't go because we're probably going to close the borders. And so I got to, I started looking at like what was going on politically. I was like, yeah, right, I'm going to cancel the trip. And the day after I was supposed to leave, Thailand closed the border. So I would have been stuck in Malaysia, probably like working at a university or something, trying to get, just to live.
Wow.
Mike, if you're still listening, Jib says use a flamethrower. That'll make short work of your snow. Oh, and I'm going to screen cap this also. It's a place called Kana Kazana.
Yeah, Khana Khazana is
It's a well-known place, Tejas.
I think that's close to Ambassador Hotel, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, on 11, so 11?
Yeah, somewhere there. I think
Near
on
Insanity.
the junction.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And what was it? Sukhumvit Soy 3 is where all the like Middle Eastern and Indian spots are, right?
Yeah, it's around that side. We have a few good restaurants.
I'll tell you, my favorite thing is the I forget what they're called. The Indian bread they fill with like onions and potatoes. It's like stuffed bread. And like one piece of this bread weighs like 30 pounds. So good.
30 pounds.
It's not that heavy, it's like a real dense thing. It's like Indian bread and stuffed with potatoes and onion. The one I get, the vegan ones, and a little bit of spice. You dip it in chutney. It's like it could be a meal in itself.
Right.
We had a Bangladeshi restaurant down the road. Good stuff. Bangladeshi in Florida, huh? What's Bangladeshi food like? Is it similar to Indian and then different in other ways? Like what how does that come across? How does that translate in food wise? Remember Tejas, you remember all the girls from Bhutan at the at university? And they were always like, oh, Bhutan food is like Indian food but spicy. And they were like,
Bangladeshi food is very similar to Indian food. Basically, food from like West Bengal. It's very similar. the same region.
Okay, nice. I've had samosas. No, not samosas. It's like flatbread, and then it's like stuffed with is it called paneer or something? Where it's stuffed with potatoes and onions, and then they pan fry it on both sides. Whatever whenever I see it on, it's always called stuffed bread, Indian stuffed bread on like the Food Panda menu or something, or Grab Food menu. And so if ever I see that and it says vegan next to it, I'll order that. It'll be very similar to Bengali food, Bangladeshi, Bengali. Yeah. Nice. And how about Sri Lankan food? Is similar?
Sri Lankan food will probably be similar to our South Indian food.
Okay.
More similarities with the South Indian foods.
I know a Nepali guy out here in Bangkok, and he was always saying like Nepali food. He's like, oh, I always thought Nepali food was spicy, but then I came to Thailand, so now I just say Nepali food's not spicy. Oh yeah, that's it. Paratha.
Okay.
Paratha. That's what it is. It's called paratha. Stuffed. It's like stuffed bread. Alo paratha. Yeah. Nefertiti is over soy 3, mix of Egyptian, Middle Eastern, Mexican for some reason. Egyptian, Middle Eastern, and Mexican? Where did that how does that happen, Frank? Haven't been there the last year, so I remember it being pretty good. I'm trying to think what that even.
Let's start with lunch there, Dana.
Yeah, absolutely. Egyptian, Middle Eastern, and Mexican. That's unique. Oh, there's a Mexican place. I don't know if it was here when you were living here before, Tejas, called Cali Mex. It's pretty good. I don't know if they're still around though. They might have closed down with COVID. Aloe and mutton curry. Yeah, a lot of the Indian food has mutton in it. That's interesting. Is what mutton's lamb, right? Or goat? Lamb, I think. Mutton is lamb?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a lot of Indian food has the mutton. I didn't organize the menu. I just ate there a few times. Yeah, actually, Minority Nomad, Eric, I've got to go to a few Mexican spots with him. He did the whole Taco Fest review in Bangkok, and we were talking about like some of the Mexican places I want to hit up with him, and we're probably gonna make a video on that pretty soon, like some of the Mexican places, trying the vegan, non-vegan. We'll bring Jib along. Jib can eat the Keto Burrito, which is basically just meat and cheese. Instead of a tortilla, they wrap it in a fried sheet of cheese. So it's got to be delicious, right? It's just cheese on cheese on cheese. I'm trying, like, that's one of the I'm still thinking about this Egyptian, Middle Eastern, Mexican menu. Like, there's a few places that are really unique like that. Tejas, what's your favorite burger in Bangkok?
Oh. I think we went there together, Dana. I forget the name of the restaurant. I can't recall where it was.
Can't recall?
No.
Joe wants to know your favorite pizza in Bangkok.
Pala, right under.
Pala, of course.
Right under Terminal 21.
Best pizza in the world. Jib says she'll go for that Keto Burrito.
You remember the 1 meter long?
Yeah. Yeah, so Paula sells their pizza by the slice, by the half meter, or by the meter. And we ordered a full meter one time. It comes out on these 2 wooden trays, and we're just like, okay, we got some work to do. That was the time we were there with Maud, right? And the drunk dude started flirting with her. Yeah. So we were there with this Thai girl, and this drunk, was he British or American? I can't remember.
I think British.
Yeah. and he was hammered, like not even like he was buzzed. He was just obliterated. And he sits down. So the way it's set up is there's just like two top tables all in the middle. So we've taken up like two of the two tops because we have all this pizza, and we're hanging out. And this drunk guy comes in. He's sitting right next to this girl, Maud, who's with us, and he's completely obliterated. And so he starts talking to her. He's like, "You're so pretty. How old are you? 15?" And like just saying all this ridiculous stuff. And she's got a good personality, so she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna play along and just mess around and like have a good time." And she's like, "Oh, I'm pretty. Oh, thank you so much. What do you do here in Thailand? How old are you?" And like just asking them questions. And
it was hilarious. I still have the video.
You have a video of them like talking, right? And she's making faces, and she's like, he's like, oh, the Joe P, the mutton curry. I haven't had that in years. Mutton curry. Yeah, I'll tell you, Bangkok, the mutton curry essentially everywhere. Every Indian restaurant has it for the most part.
Well, I just had mutton curry this for lunch.
Oh, really? How was it?
Oh, it was good.
Joe says Minority Nomad disagrees with Paula being the best pizza, but Minority Nomad doesn't know pizza. We're just giving him a pass. We let him think he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't. Paula's definitely, when you guys come here, you gotta do Paula. Best pizza. I'm telling you. Out of this world. I was doing a podcast last night with these guys, the Ocon brothers from New York, and we were talking about pizza. I was like, guys, like it's like my favorite pizza is a spot in Bangkok. I mean, I know most New Yorkers will yell at me if you're like the best pizza is not in New York, but it's a different style of pizza. You've got to judge style versus style. You can't judge Chicago versus New York. You can't judge like Roman versus Neapolitan. You got to go style versus style on pizza, and then you pick your preference based on your style that you like the most. I'll trust Dana's opinion on the pizza. Hell right. Hell yeah. Damn right, Stuck. When you're here, man, one of the things we gotta do when people come here from Bangkok, anyone on the idea team follows the channel or who follows Bangkok Strange, we'll all meet up at Paula sometime. I think like 20 people, you could probably close that place out. Now they probably have a little bit more than 20 seats, but like you get 20 people in there, you could definitely you take up most of the restaurant. Outside. Yeah. Apparently they used to be half that size, Tejas. Like they used to have only half as many chairs.
So it used to be primarily takeaway.
Yeah. It's still a lot of takeaway business. Right. Which is the best Thai or any variation fried chicken, not counting KFC? Jihan, I would say any fried chicken you find from a woman in her early 40s to like late 50s, early 60s in front of a 7-Eleven frying chicken on the street is probably hands down the best. I mean, and I feel like every 7-Eleven has a fried chicken lady within proximity of it.
Thammasat night market, you know?
Yeah, the Thammasat fried chicken.
The night market there.
Yeah, that was good fried chicken. That was good food in general. Yeah. Go swim and then go swim for an hour and then night market right across the street from the pool.
Yeah, the swimming was awesome there.
That pool's closed now, you know.
They were renovating. I don't know whether is it closed, completely shut, or
as far as I know, they turned that into part of the preschool.
Wow. Okay.
And so now the only pools are the covered pools at the old Asian Games Stadium. Right. So Joe says deep dish is number one. Deep dish is legit pizza. I don't disagree that deep dish is good. Paula is nice because it's a thick crust, but it's cooked in the oven flat, so it's somewhere between New York and deep dish. Deep dish has to be cooked perfectly for it to be good. Yeah, that's true. If you undercook or overcook deep dish, you're in trouble. Oh, this is Jib giving me a hard time. She says, I don't eat pizza. I eat bread with ketchup. It's not ketchup, Jib. It's marinara pizza sauce. It's not ketchup. Not ketchup. And actually, I was at Paula one time at the takeaway, and I just got a message back from iParcel. I'll check it in a minute. So I was at the takeaway window at Paula when they had the dining room closed when COVID first hit, and you could only eat takeaway, and they put 2 tables outside. And this old white dude, British, he was eating with his girlfriend on one of the tables, and he comes over to the window and he asks for ketchup. And Paula's like a straight Italian pizza place, like Roman style pizza. And the waitress looks over and she's like, mind me, I don't have ketchup here. He wants to put ketchup on his pizza. And she's like, no, not happening. Stuck, don't agree. You're gonna encourage her. She's gonna keep calling it toast with pizza with ketchup. Hell yeah, man! Hopefully you get out here. From Australia. I got to imagine you guys will be one of the early bubbles to be able to come over here from another country. Hopefully, so you'll be over here. Joe's like so wrong. You know what though, man? I like the marinara pizza. It has like a very nice acidity to it. And my only other option is the vegan cheese, which I don't always mind, but it can be kind of heavy because vegan cheese is basically just hydrogenated oil. So it's quite heavy to eat. Whereas if you just eat the marinara, it's a very nice, light pizza. Man, everyone laughing at Jib calling my pizza bread and ketchup. Man, I feel so damaged. So damaged.
That's a very, very nice pizza, actually, the marinara.
Yeah, it is. I think Paula does it better than anyone, in my opinion. They have the garlic slices on there. The acidity's just right. Just the flavors are really balanced. But their vegan pizza is also good. But then also their non-vegan pizzas look amazing, like the Parma ham and all that stuff. I know Jib likes the what's it called, the bosciola, the pork sausage with the mozzarella. Did you have the buffalo pizza one, the buffalo mozzarella pizza there, Tejas? The one that I think we ordered like half a meter.
We had that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you tried that one. Everyone, like when they have that buffalo mozzarella in stock, everyone says it's amazing. Jib is on a kick at Paula though, where she goes and she'll get the special, whatever's on special for the pasta. The last couple times it was rock lobster pasta. And it was like 2 lobster tails on this pasta, and Jib says it's like the best thing she's ever had. Mayo pizza. What is mayo pizza, Joe? I'm concerned about where this is going. Mayonnaise pizza sounds like a very Thai dish, though. I'm not gonna lie. Mayo pizza. If you go to Pizza Company or like Domino's here, they do put mayonnaise on some of the pizzas. They like squirt it in like that square pattern up and down on zigzags on the pizza. It's a little concerning. I'm waiting for Joe to explain what mayo pizza is before I move on because I need to know. One of my friends, he toasts his grilled cheese sandwiches with mayonnaise instead of butter. And he says it makes it more like more toasty. Seems like a weird thing to me. Joe, I'm waiting on that explanation. I hope you're typing. What else what would you put on a pizza with mayonnaise? Make like a ham and cheese sandwich on a pizza, like mayonnaise, ham, cheese, melt it. There's a spot at the top of my soy that is, so I'm going to put it in air quotes. It is a pizza shop, right? They call themselves a pizza shop, and people order grab delivery from this place. It's a little cart. And I'm sure you've seen these ovens that they have in Thailand, Tejas, where it's like a glass pot with a convection heater on top.
Yeah.
And it basically blows hot air into it. So they've got like 5 of those set up, and they're like maybe, I don't know, 10 inches on the bottom in diameter. And they basically put the dough in, pre-formed frozen dough, and then they drop whatever the toppings are. They put the top on this pizza, and it spins it around for like 5 minutes, and they have like this pizza. But I've seen them squirting mayonnaise on top of it after everything's melted. And people go crazy for this, like it's even potentially good. But I've asked Jib about it, and even Jib said she wouldn't eat it. Oh, Joe says to replace the cheese. I don't know if they replace the cheese with mayonnaise. I think they squirt mayonnaise on top of the melted cheese, Joe. So, oh, Stuck knows someone also used mayo for grilled cheese and other things when she cooks. I don't know. Like, I think like mayonnaise, if you grilled it like that, like direct contact with the grill, I think it would develop like a funky taste. However, do you guys remember the rapper Coolio? He did a show called Cooking with Coolio, and he made like this garlic bread where it was like he mixed like shredded cheese, mayonnaise, and garlic powder together and spread it on top of garlic bread. And apparently it was really good, but it kind of sounds nasty to me. He baked it for like 20 minutes. Tejas, you ever had mayonnaise on your pizza?
No, never.
No, God, no. He's like, no. I don't care for mayo, but I must admit it's so it is good when it's toasted
But I mean,
on
I
there.
wouldn't mind trying if it's good. Yeah.
So when you get out of ASQ, I'll bring you to the little pizza the pizza shack with the round oven to the top of those. And we'll see how you respond to the mayo seafood pizza.
Dana.
I think we're gonna wrap it up on the mayo pizza note, guys. Go ahead, Tejas.
You remember the place we went right next to Sushana?
No.
For pizza?
When was this?
We had gone there, and the guy came up with like he had a fire oven, but the pizza was like horrible.
Oh yeah. He's like, the pizza's the oven's no good.
Yeah, I mean they had nice menu, but the pizza when it came was terrible.
Yeah, I do remember that. Here, good pizza and cold beer is a sign of a well-developed nation. Oh, Frank, you're killing me. Hard to take a restaurant recommendation as best from a vegan if you're not vegan. Cleanest bathroom, sure. Best location, I believe you. Best pizza, too many pizza things missing from your pizza, yo. Nah, fam, come on. I know good pizza. It's all about the crust and the sauce anyway. The crust and the sauce are good. You can build on top of a quality foundation. Anyway, man, I think we'll wrap it up on that note, guys. Mayo pizza and the best pizza in Bangkok. And any of you guys come out here, let me know. We'll get together over at Pala. I've actually got a call in 6 minutes, so I got to prep for that. All right, guys, thank you for coming by. Tejas, thank you for taking the time to jump on the live stream with me. Guys, until next time, keep taking action.